Good afternoon, evening, or morning, bums. Welcome to the end of year, end of season, the finale, as it were, of Bums Corner Coast to Coast. I'm Tom Arnholt out here in the West.
And I'm Mike Eshelman, buried somewhere in the East. And welcome to episode 13, Lucky 13, our season finale. We had this beautiful schedule laid out where we were going to have guests showing up on a regular basis throughout the show to discuss a myriad of topics that Tom selected for us. But of course, it went to hell in a handbasket about a half hour ago. So we completely redid the schedule. We're going to fake it like we know what we're doing.
Right. By redid, we mean kind of throw out.
Yeah. But my thought is make hay while the sun shines. So we're at the end of a year of doing this show that sort of started on a whim, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Total to say that'd be kind of fun to maybe do.
Yeah. It was, when was that? Like last November, December, when the Bob Dylan concert?
Yeah, we talked about doing something, a creative collaboration on something. We had no idea what, but I think then we went to our respective opposite sides of the country and thought about it. And yeah, we got, was it like December or January? We talked. We're like, I was thinking, a podcast would be something that would be seemingly easy enough that we could just ditch if it's not fun. And it doesn't really take a whole lot of time, effort, or money. And again, if it's not fun or becomes too much of a chore, fuck it.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, let's just have fun and try to make each other laugh.
I think it could not have worked out better for us because the podcast idea was perfect because it's something that we can do that isn't a big time sink.
Yeah.
That
it's easy enough to get together, coordinate our schedules and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. But plus, like right after we said, yeah, let's do this, bam, the pandemic hit. And we had to stay home anyways. I'm like, well, shit, this kind of works out. I get to hang out with my friend Tom, who I haven't talked to in a decade, once a month now.
Yeah. It's like I think we've talked more in the last year than we have in the previous 15.
Easily. Yeah. And I love that aspect of it. That, yes, we are making something together, but it's the fact that, we open up that line of communication again. And I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. And it's cool because, I think in episode 1 we were talking about sort of the origin of bums and all of us as a group of friends. And I gotta say, I don't think I've ever, I hit my creative peak hanging out with you guys back in the day. And it was something that kind of, I think we both recognized back in November when you and I got together. And I don't know, at least me on the flight home, I'm like, damn, like my creative juices are just going. I had like a spring in my step. I was like, wow, okay. I'm intellectually and artistically engaged. And I'm like, wow, both sides of my brain are kind of going. And I haven't felt like that in a while.
Right.
So it was really cool to kind of connect and feel that again. So it was kind of a, look, we need to make something happen, but it's got to be playful and arguably stupid.
Tick.
Just for us.
I think with not only you and I, but like that entire group of friends, we not only fed off each other's creativity, but it also created an environment where you could be 100% fearless.
Yes.
You could jump off the cliff with an idea or a concept or a project and know fully well there were 10 people below waiting to catch you.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned fearless. I remember a few years ago, I think it was when I came back to town and Al and George and I saw Tom Petty in Cincinnati. And of course, the drinks were flowing, and I remember looking at Al going, damn, do you remember when we used to be fearless? I was at that point in my life, where it was just like, God, that pre-midlife sort of, what's it all for, man?
Right.
What happened, man? But it was like, Man, we used to be fucking fearless.
Yep, absolutely.
So it's been sort of interesting that you use that word because I've kind of lamented the loss of that fearlessness, and we had it in spades because we did have that group that we knew full well that if I jump, I know someone's going to catch me.
Right. Well, I mean, shit. And I wish I could remember what year it was, but if you think about it, as a collective of individuals with nothing official, we put on a play just because we wanted to. You know?
Like,
two, actually. We did Godspell at St. Tim's.
Yeah.
And then followed that up with a much larger production of Don't Drink the Water at the Josephinium.
Right. I look
mean,
back at that and I'm like, who the hell? Where's that ballsy dude? What the hell? How did we do that?
And I guess the bigger question is why? Was it just a wild hair that you and Tom said, hey, let's put on a play, and the rest of it just said, fuck yeah, and we came rolling over the hills?
I think part of the motivation for it was because I know Tom and I both were looking at going into theater at Ohio State. Tom did. I ended up going secondary education. But in any event, we both knew that as freshmen, there is no way that we're going to get cast in anything at the university. But we still had the bug. We still wanted to do theater. And we just figured, look, if we want to do this, we got to do it ourselves. No one's going to cast us. No one's going to hire us.
Right.
No one's going to put us in a play or a production. So let's produce something on our own, with our team of experts. And that just speaks volumes that as a group, we pulled that off twice.
Yeah. And we were like 21, 22.
Not even.
And again, we did all of it together as a group. And then when it was done, we just walked away from it. We're like, that was awesome.
that was fun.
Yeah.
And then after Drunk the Water, it was like, wow, that was fun, but I never want to do that again because that was huge.
It was, well, we all had full-time jobs. We were all in school. And we were doing this basically at night. Mm-hmm. I remember George would be there for overnight working on building the set.
I remember I was doing the same thing. I was there. I spent many nights until the sun came up, painting the backdrops and painting fucking the flats and things like that.
Right.
Hanging that's fucking paneling on those flats. Climbing up there and fucking with lights and things like that.
Right. But still, I mean, it's amazing. And yeah, that's a huge undertaking for anybody to do. But we just said, I don't remember anybody dissenting, saying, no, that's kind of a dumb idea. Everybody just said, fuck yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You're doing what? Okay. Well, that sounds completely unsurmountable. When do we leave?
Yeah. So when we threw the dartboard at projects that we could collaborate on, and we hit on podcast, I'm like, oh, yeah, let me Google this shit and see what we need to do to set it up.
Yeah.
Yep. Because even failing, we would have a great time. So there was no risk involved at all.
Yeah. And that was the thing, early on, it was like, well, if we get a listener, if we get no listeners, if it's just, you and I are the only people that actually hit play on this thing when it's done. Okay.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's you and I just hanging out bullshitting like we used to.
Right. Exactly.
And it all could have stemmed from, whoa, look at this fucking guy. Go. Holy shit, look at this thing. What's walking at us?
Yeah, I am super thankful that we built this little thing. And I don't see it stopping. I mean, I'd love to do this for another 20 years and just get together once a month and bullshit and make fun of people.
Yeah. The older we get, I'd be like, this son of a bitch was in my yard all the time riding their bikes.
They'll get hyper-focused. I was thinking about it today. I'm looking very forward to when we are deep into dementia.
Oh, yeah.
Still trying to do this. Like just
Yeah.
babbling incoherently about whatever story you happen to have, not realizing that we're making a show out of it. I'm hoping that by then we'll have a producer that just kind of wheels us in front of a microphone and go, okay, idiots, go.
Yeah.
And let us go for 60 minutes.
Like ring the bell and okay, all right.
Goddamn minorities.
Oh my God. It's two wings of the same bird.
Oh, Christ. But okay, so, well, here, cheers to finishing a year of this. Tink. And because we're going to have a bunch of guests on tonight,
Allegedly.
there's not the bevy of articles that we usually have, but Tom did sort of cherry pick some good surveys that we could talk about while everybody was here, and hopefully eventually they start rolling in. Otherwise, this is not going to be one of the best episodes, but it will be one with a number in front of it.
Right. It will be a episode. Yeah, well, when we first thought up the idea of having people try to call in and do the cycle of interaction, I thought it might be too long and difficult to try to do a story. It would just be very clunky and kind of awkward. So I figured we'd do a survey because in addition to the same place where I pull a lot of the material that we talk about, there's also a bunch of just fucking surveys all the time. Everybody's going to do a survey. And a lot of them are odd, and a lot of them are timely. But it's like, who's paying for this? Is one of my first questions. But that's for a different show. But I thought it would be interesting because of the repeat guests, we've kind of already done the story thing with them. We've got their story, so we're just going to get their take on these surveys about what America is thinking and doing. So I figured, easy enough for anyone to join in on that conversation.
Yeah.
So that said, a couple of surveys since it is the holiday season. We just had Thanksgiving and found these to be kind of interesting and apropos. Ooh. And I'm going to read both of them because they kind of go together. All right. I apologize for the long-windedness of my dissertation, but they do kind of tie in.
Lay it on me.
Pass the seconds, please. Poll shows 61% are planning to overindulge this holiday season. We're not judging if you opt for that second slice of pumpkin pie this year. It's 2020. And while your pants might feel tight, at least you don't have to feel alone. A survey commissioned by Herbalife Nutrition showed 56% are putting off eating healthy until next year. Non-scientific survey of 2,000 Americans showed that this year's percentage marked a 15% jump over the number of people who said they were delaying their fitness goals until the new year. In fact, the average respondent expects to gain 7 pounds over the course of the holidays, and the stress of this year is getting the blame. 61% of Americans said that they were going to indulge this year because of everything that was 2020. By comparison, fewer than half of those who responded to a separate global poll of 4,000 people worldwide felt they needed to reward themselves because of COVID-19 and everything else associated with 2020. But in our defense, we did have an election. 53% of the Americans polled said that they would be making poor but yummy eating choices just to make themselves feel better about this COVID-charged holiday season, which is seeing families cancel get-togethers and the like. You know what? Let's do that one first. I'm going to do instead of combining them. We'll hit that. Let's discuss that one.
Right. It makes sense that, yes, everybody deserves a second piece of pie.
Regardless of what's going on in the world.
Yeah, I mean, fuck it. It's Thanksgiving and Christmas. Eat.
Yeah.
You know?
Eat it.
Everybody gains weight during the holidays. It's a sad fact of life. So, yes, a lot of shit happened bad this year. But the fact that it's going to happen. You're going to eat. You're going to gain weight. I don't think that this survey, and who did pay for this? Oh, Herbalife Nutrition.
Herbalife Nutrition.
Oh, I see. So, okay, before I start bitching about that, I just do want to acknowledge that Dan and Fran just walked into the room. So I want to say hi to both of them.
Hello, Dan and Fran.
Can we hear you, Fran, or are you just... Say something.
She's always been quiet, guys.
She's muted.
Okay.
Always had a hard time.
Yeah, sign language doesn't work in radio shows.
You
know. So,
wow.
Hi, Dan.
Ash, your beard is intense.
And again, this is a radio show.
Okay.
So...
Right, no, I get it. Absolutely.
So you got to really describe the beard.
I know. I feel like, and again, I should apologize. I was talking to the valet, and I came upstairs, and I went back downstairs where Tom told me to go, and I found the materials, and I brought them back in here to the den. And now, looking at your hair, it's just it's scared. It looks like there's a glow light underneath your beard shining out. It's kind of cool.
You're trying to eat a family of beavers.
This is my pandemic apathy look.
But it works.
It's a perfect look.
You know, I want to reach that point where I look like somebody that listens to banjo music on a regular basis. And not ironically either, because they actually like it. So I'm getting there.
So the video part of this is never seen by anybody?
No. We just do this so we can, give hand signals, like wave to people whose audio isn't working.
Thank God. I was wondering.
As Dan whips out this huge, what is that? Some sort of tobacco device.
I was unaware what the parameters were, but
video's not going anywhere. Awesome.
Pretty much. I don't know. I mean, it's a pandemic. I mean, shouldn't we just embrace whatever gets us by?
Yeah,
Well,
and I'm sure you have at least one medical condition that makes that okay, right?
Everything's going a lot better now. I'm scared Fran off. I feel bad. But I could see that. You're going to be hanging around with this.
She was having some technical issues.
Oh, she was having technical issues.
Yeah. Is anything better now, Fran, or are we still not able to hear you, or can you not hear us?
Although you were just muted, but now you're better.
Nothing.
I told my wife yesterday. I said, you know what? How long did I live with you, Ash? I lived with you for what, like 3 years, 2 years?
3 years sounds right. Yeah,
3 years. And how many times did you see me hitting the chronic when I lived with you? Huh? How many times?
Zero.
Exactly. I never did it.
Nope.
You know what I mean? So I
can't believe I've waited this long to hear Dan Rockwell say
chronic.
Quite a statement, actually, to say that.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody call it that, like in person.
Oh, I love that word.
Like
I love that word. I love chronic. It's an amazing word. Amazing. It really it just summarizes a lot of things, like like chronic, like back pain, chronic, sneezing. That's a thing.
Glaucoma.
Chronic glaucoma. Right?
Chronic glaucoma.
That seems like a permanent.
Fran, you're unmuted. Oh, sorry. You're muted again. Never mind.
So, like 2 months ago, or no, 3 months ago, when we started planning this, we thought, man,
planning is
all right.
Use that loosely.
When we thought of the idea, So
Yeah.
Tom said, "Oh, that's a great idea. It'll be so much fun. We have such witty friends." And I said, "No,
Mhm.
it's going to be a Mongolian clusterfuck."
Wow. That's
And-
like no fucking faith in people here.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't our lack of faith in you guys.
Oh, I just had a
It was our
realization of
lack
what I
of
was
faith
doing wrong.
in our ability to pull it off.
right. Yeah, and so we
I-
actually did research about having a live actual call-in show where we're live and just taking calls. But oh my god, there's so much work involved in that.
There is a lot.
I emailed Tom.
There's actually, there's a conference line out there. Like that's when you want to get one of those conference lines. And then I'm sorry, I'm explaining shit. Sorry.
It
That's
happens,
okay.
Dan. It's
That's-
all right.
That's part of your charm, Dan.
But thank you, Tom.
Dan, how's this work?
That's a fun word for it, charm.
But it is. Anyways, there was a service I used in 2006 when I did a podcast back then. Do you believe it? Wow. Anyways, it was a conference line, and people would just call in almost like they just do right now, and then you just hit a number and it would like take calls in and pause people and stuff. It was cool. Anyways, I have no idea what that tool is. It's gone. Fran, I feel bad for Fran. This is gone.
Now you've done it. You've pissed her off.
For our poor listening audience, our friend Fran keeps trying to join the meeting and is having all sorts of technical issues. So she's joining and then disappearing, and then she's showing up and then disappearing.
I would like to point out that when I sent all the emails about scheduling, I reiterated if anyone would like to sit down with their hardware set up before the show and maybe go over how everything works and make sure everything's functioning, I'd be more than happy to.
It makes me think of South Park, the guy that has the little flaps.
Fuck you.
He's like, oh, you can't figure out Google Chat? Oh, that's too bad. You can't figure out Google Hangout. You said you can't hear well? Oh. I love that one. Absolutely. Never mind.
Oh, Christ.
Sorry. Chronic be praised. Hallelujah.
All right, so before it completely derailed, Tom read a survey that, 61% of people surveyed said that they were going to overindulge during the holidays.
Oh, yeah.
That was the plan.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Dan, have you overindulged in the holidays?
Well,
are you blaming COVID-19 or anything generic 2020 on it?
Well, I think there's a general sense of increased anxiety right now, I have to say, for me, as I feel the COVID is getting closer. We have like 3 family members, they're cousins, so they're not critical family members. But
like Kentucky cousins, or
yeah, you sound like the front page of Pornhub now.
No, right, exactly. My password is, but no, like on Mary's side of the family, there's someone that's in the incubator right now. We'll just keep them in our thoughts. And then, unfortunately, my mother was exposed, which is not good. But we're not worried. But we're not worried yet. We're not worried yet. And it's just one of these things where it's like it's getting closer. So, have I indulged? I have bought a lot of expensive music equipment. So spending is always a good, fun thing to do when you're stressed. That's about it.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What about you, Tommy? Did you overindulge?
No, not really. Thanksgiving. I mean, I know that a lot of folks that got were bummed this year because they couldn't do the big Thanksgiving that they're used to. But I mean, for us, we spent 12 years overseas away from family. For the bulk of the 3 of us as a family, the bulk of our time together, it's always just kind of been the 3 of us against the world, no matter what. And so it wasn't necessarily any different than any other Thanksgiving that we've had so far. But see, I got to say, Sarah, this Thanksgiving is her favorite holiday. as a chef, she kind of gets into that whole thing.
That's fair.
And for the three of us, she'll buy a 23-pound turkey, and we'll just live off of it in various configurations of what that bird initially was. Like over the course of the next week, it evolves into other dishes so that it's like, oh my god. Indulge, I wouldn't say overindulge, but I thoroughly enjoyed.
All right.
And I didn't hold back, nor do I feel guilty about anything.
I have a question in the audience. Thanks for pointing at me. That's so good. Yeah. Thank you so much, Tom.
The front row.
You in the back. All right. So the question I have for you, Tom, is: has Sarah done? And I guess I'm gonna talk to Sarah right now. Sarah, how you doing? Long time no see. I hope we get together again and have a Fresca or Fanta. It's like the two the same brand. But have you done a turducken?
Not Mormon anymore.
Oh, never mind. Has she done a turducken?
She has not cooked a turducken. However, when she did, because I talked about it incessantly for about 3 years, she did find a turduckenesque sort of thing.
Okay.
That was basically a large turkey breast that encapsulated the chicken, that encapsulated the duck. So I have had turducken that Sarah tracked down and made for me.
I think the best is a new word in my mind is turducken-esque. I think it's a great way of. How do I look at this, honey? Honey, it's very turducken-esque.
It's sort of like, a meat version of a Russian nesting doll.
I'm oddly hungry and turned on at the same time.
Dude, it'll change your life. Yes. Turducken.
Well, this year, oddly enough, my parents actually canceled Thanksgiving. I thought they would be, to hell with the rules. We're going to do our thing. But so I was very happy that they canceled it. So on Thanksgiving Eve, I just had my daughter over. And we ordered all of the sides that O'Charlie's offers. She's vegetarian, so there's no point in me making a turkey that you just look like a weirdo when you eat a turkey by yourself.
Yeah.
So it was all breaded food. And it was amazing. And yes, I felt like an absolute shit afterwards. I could just lay down and feel all the cholesterol moving through my body as one giant sludge piece.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So on that note, we want to say hi to Rick Tansky that just walked in, and hopefully we've got Fran now. Can you say something? Say hi.
Hi.
Oh my God, it worked.
Hi, Fran.
Hi.
There she is.
Oh my gosh, that was terrible.
So there's probably 100 years worth of technical know-how in this room.
Easily.
And the best we can come up with is check your settings and unplug it.
Unplug it, plug it back in.
And the problem was that we use Google Meet for all of our school stuff. So it's an official school Google Meet account. So it won't let me log into a non-school Meet. It won't let me have Google Meet for fun.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, you got to completely close that browser, open a new browser, and sign in again. And
that's what I tried to do. So I just went and got my daughter's computer.
It learns.
Yeah, look at you.
You are identified as somebody not you.
Right. I'm my kid.
Nice. You hacked your kid's account.
Which honestly, for alibi purposes, might be a wise move anyway.
Right. Yeah, officially there is no record of you being on this show.
Exactly.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again.
That's
the
smart.
8
Again.
people that listen to this shit will not sue you. Don't worry.
I don't know. The Uzbekistan listener, I'm suspect.
Yeah, I know. That one guy in Uzbekistan. And now we have Russia. We have a listener in Russia, too. So
I may have received a cease and desist order from my former employer. I'm not sure.
Why, you don't open your mail anymore? You say,
No,
fucking, I'm
The
retired.
word there is former employer.
That's not a check. Get out. Oh, speaking of which, how...
Hey, guys.
What's going on, Rick? Long time, man. Fran.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah.
So we do this every time somebody walks in. Fran, can you tell us how long has it been since you've talked to everybody in this room?
Oh my God! Wow. Well, Dan and Rick, I don't think I've talked to you guys since we graduated from high school. I missed you terribly.
Yeah.
Tom, I saw you and Sarah and Dylan when you guys came into town a few years ago, I think.
Oh, that was like 15 years ago, I think.
No, it was more recent than that because my 13-year-old remembers it. And we had dinner at Al's place, maybe, with Luke and Terry.
Oh, that's right. We did see you there. Okay, yeah. That was not too long ago. That was, I think, the year or so before we actually moved back. So we're looking at like 2010.
Okay.
So
it may have been 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's been about 10 years, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it was right before we moved to Kaiserslautern. So, yeah.
Damn.
It's been a long time, you guys. I miss you.
Rick looks like he hasn't aged since graduation.
No, not at all.
Like honestly, it looks like he just came off the set of I don't know, the next Forrest Gump movie or something. Yeah, I want an Airwolf. Wow. We just boom. I'm gonna have to hit
digging deep on that one.
I have to hit the chronic on the Airwolf reference.
Wow.
You take it away from here, Rick.
Fran, I actually think I saw you at Xavier. Would have been, I think, 90-ish. You came down. Okay. I brought my girlfriend at the time, who is now my wife. So, yeah. So, but man, that was
30 years ago.
Yeah, it's been 30 years. And
but I've been
the rest of you, graduation.
I've been binge listening to the show, trying to get all caught up for today. So I feel like we all just reconnected.
Right.
Wow, you binge listened? You endured a lot.
I endured the 87 hour marathon.
Wow.
I don't apologize much, but Fran, I am so sorry.
No wonder you pretended your equipment didn't work. I tried and bailed too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just going to listen, and if it's just too fucking nuts, I'm out. Oh, technical difficulties.
And it's hard because, I'm not a big fan of the headphones, so I can't listen when the children are anywhere around. So I have to find places where I'm isolated and no witnesses.
Nice.
Every time I post an episode, I make sure to click that little explicit button. This is not family friendly.
Wait, you guys have an explicit button now? Because my episode, we surely didn't have that.
No, not like a buzzer, but when you look at it on Apple or
okay, yeah, okay.
Our new host,
a Tipper Gore parental advisory.
Yeah, there's the little E next to it.
Nice.
That was my goal. That's all I wanted.
What, a Tipper Gore sticker?
A Tipper Gore sticker, yeah.
There you go, you've made it.
Right?
All right, you guys gotta ask these two the same question. What was the question? I forget.
Well, we have more surveys, and now that we have people from education in here, Tom put together a bunch of surveys since we can't really do articles with people jumping in and jumping out. So he put together a list of surveys, and some of them were actually apropos to the people we are anticipating being here.
That was kind of the goal.
Yeah.
No, you're on it.
What?
Yes.
Indubitably good man. All right.
So since half the people were in fucking education, we had a COVID-19 specific survey regarding students.
Okay.
All right.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, I'll knock this one out. It's short.
Okay.
DJ voice.
Oh, all right.
Survey says 94% of parents worrying about kids' grades sliding because of COVID-19 remote learning. A new survey shows that 94% of American parents say they worry their kids' grades are being hurt by COVID-19 related remote learning. The non-scientific survey of 2,000 parents commissioned by online coding education company Code Wizards HQ also revealed that 54% of parents complained that bandwidth issues were hurting the virtual classroom experience. 40% say their children were missing the group interactions of in-person class, and 39% say remote learning is harmed by their kids being distracted by their at-home classroom. Their fears appear to be warranted. School districts around the nation have reported declining grades and performance from students as they continue to learn virtually from home during the pandemic. The poll noted that parents had suggestions for making remote learning more productive too, including the 40% who wished online classes could be recorded for future reference, and 35% wishing their kids' teachers could live chat with students who need help. That being said, 55% claim virtual learning fits their child's learning style. So, Fran, I could see out of the corner of my eye a lot of activity coming from your Hollywood Squares box. So,
I love the fact that parents have suggestions for how professionals can do their job better. That's always welcome.
I detect a bit of sarcasm there.
A lot of sarcasm in there.
It's this.
Hang on, Fran. I'm sorry, real quick. Are you teaching on site, or are you distance, or are you hybrid?
That's an excellent question.
Or all the above?
Yes, our district is hybrid.
Okay.
But we keep taking these remote breaks due to,
Spikes,
COVID, spikes. Yes. But our particular school within the district is staying remote most likely for the entire year. So while my elementary school daughter has been in 2 days a week for a few weeks, my school, where my two older kids attend and all my students attend, we have not been in at all.
Wow.
Okay, so you've seen this from the whole spectrum. So go.
Yeah. This whole pandemic sucks. Everything about it sucks. There is no bright side to any of this. And yes, the kids' learning is going to suffer, just like everybody's work productivity is going to suffer, just like everybody's mental health is going to suffer. Like, to expect the level of education to maintain the way it has been in years in the middle of this global pandemic is an unrealistic expectation. We are absolutely doing, and not just our district or our school, but educators around the globe are doing absolutely everything we possibly can to help kids. And if learning is decreased, but at the sake of maintaining kids' sanity, and reassuring some of their fears during all of this, then okay. Everybody's learning across the board. It might suffer a little bit. We'll pick up next year. We'll be fine. We will be fine. If we just get these kids through it, we'll be fine.
Wow. The voice of reason right there.
Right?
Yes. Rick, as an administrator, do you want to chime in at all? Or former administrator?
Yeah, former administrator. I got to say that educators across this country made the change literally overnight. Teachers who had no or very little training in anything to do with online learning or e-learning or hybrid learning or whatever learning you want to call it, made it happen. And they have done as heroic job as anybody you want to compliment on the front lines. Hours upon hours of summers evaporated trying to say, how am I going to figure this out and bring my kids back, the next year? And every time I hear the suggestions about how professionals should do their jobs. I think about like, oh, hey, dentist, it's really painful to get a tooth filled. So I got some suggestions for you. Or, hey, proctologist, I don't want you to stick that there. So I've got some suggestions for you.
Right.
And like a lot of these teachers have done, master's degrees plus. So you're talking 8-10 years of education, like doctors and lawyers, and everybody likes to second guess everybody because we all have this in common, right? Like, oh, I went to school, so I know how this is done. Yeah. And so like, because I'm not employed, I just want to say, parents, back the fuck off.
You can say, there you go.
Yeah.
And you know what? The teachers are going to do the job the best they can. Are like everybody else. Are there going to be some that are going to do it great? Are there going to be some who aren't? Yeah. And you know what? Your kids aren't that great either. So sit their asses down on a fairly regular schedule and instead of letting them sleep in until 2:00 in the afternoon and then be trying to cram in 8 hours of school in about half an hour and go, well, that's done. So, I got some suggestions for you on parenting. First of all, you shouldn't have procreated. All right. Secondly, wow. I'm pretty sure that whatever altering substance you had when you were pregnant affected your kids negatively. So, wow, there's a lot of freedom to not being employed and not have to have an employer disclosure anymore.
Go, man, go!
I was going to say, Rick, I can't wait until I get to your point in my career.
Yeah.
And the other thing is you're underestimating your kids. Because if you're believing all that crap, like they got to do well on fill in the blank standardized test, and they're not measuring up on this standardized test, you have a pretty low view of your kids,
right?
And you have a low view of resilience. I'm looking at 4 friend colleagues that if we had standardized tests, we all be like, you're out. You're out, you're out, you're out, and you're out. You know what? Fran probably would have been in because she just had that. But the rest of us out, right?
Yeah. Filling a Scantron like nobody else.
Look
about the time that Banks decided to put the beer can on the fire at the construction site to see what was going to happen, the rest of us are out, So anyway.
And look at what these kids are actually learning this year. They are learning how to cope. They are learning how to advocate for themselves. Yep. They are learning how to time manage in a way that was never asked of them before. They are learning how to navigate technology and troubleshoot, Google Meets and sound issues and all that kind of stuff. They are learning how to do more different things that are probably way more useful than, and I'm sorry, math teachers, but finding the area of a circle, I mean,
R square.
But surely there's some disturbing micro trends that also emerged in students, like, excessive TikToking or maybe.
They were doing that anyway. They were doing that last year in my classroom.
At home in child cannabis usage gone way up. I don't know.
Get off your high horse, Rockwell. What is your anti-drug position?
What is that? Man,
I just figured there's other bad things must have happened. I mean, there must have been other like.
Let me ask
always are going to be
is like TikTok and the social medias that last year were the distraction have now been sort of the enabling devices that have allowed the Gen Zs to kind of cope with this a little bit better. They've been better equipped at meeting these challenges, these technical challenges and these learning challenges, because this is just sort of a way of life for them. And so now school is just an extension of what they did for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. You just need to know how many kids took up programming over the pandemic. That would be an interesting indicator.
That would be. And you know what?
Yeah.
Like 5 to 7 years from now, maybe we'll find out when all of a sudden
5? You should know in 8 months, man.
Well, when companies aren't starving for people to be in STEM, when all of a sudden they're completely full. And now we have to look at, maybe the art programs need to start aggressively pulling kids in because they don't have them anymore. Honestly, I think and this may be terrible to say, but I think this this sudden influx of issues into the education system have shown where the holes are in the standardized testing. Over the past year, all of these kids have learned critical life skills, whether they wanted to or not. And honestly, being able to get on a Google Meet with the tools that you have at hand are far more important in life than, again, learning the area of a circle. And that's not something that these kids learn by filling in the blanks or like Rick said, just filling out a multiple choice Scantron. And thank God nobody at work listens to this, but we do have some younger people at my job that are fresh out of college, and they're very good at attention to details and instructions until something goes wrong. There's like no creative problem solving at all.
Yep. If anybody is listening out there and has a modicum of sense, read Carol Dweck's mindset book, because that talks about a fixed mindset versus growth mindset. And that's about as serious as I want to go on that. And the problem is when we give trophies out for mere participation, as soon as kids encounter a difficulty, because they know they may not be able to succeed, they don't even want to participate in the difficulty. So they check out. And that is a direct result of trophy participation culture that's been in there. And unfortunately, I think a lot of parents are filtering that through that like, oh, this is just really tough for them. Yeah, it's really tough for them. And you know what? In the 1940s, it was really tough for everybody because we lost millions and millions of people in a war. And you couldn't have sugar. And you couldn't have pantyhose, and you couldn't have shit like that. And you know what? Now you got to wear a mask, and your kids are educated from home. Guess what? We used to do that as a country. Yeah. You used to educate kids from home. And I know our culture is not built around that, and it's a hugely inconvenient. And like, I got to go to work and I got to do something with my kids. But you know what? Stop underestimating your kids. So, you know what? Thanks for your suggestions. We'll take it under advisement.
Let's not do that.
No, the kids are great. The kids are self-advocating. I get emails from kids saying, you know, this week has been really difficult. I've had a family member test positive. I'm not going to be on my A game today. And I'm like, I get it. You know, like, if you can show up for the Google Meet, I promise I won't call on you today. Like, thanks for letting me know, and just hang in there. You know, the kids are doing a great job.
But I mean, okay, obviously we haven't spoken or seen each other in over a decade, but I know you. I know your soul. You are a good person, and I'm sure you are an outstanding fucking teacher.
Oh, thank you.
You were an outstanding fucking teacher before you were even in the field. As a friend, you were a great teacher. So I'm sure you were, you know, and Rick, when you were in the front line of the classroom, I'm sure you did the same thing. You were able to build that rapport with your class and build that trust. How many other teachers out there have struggle with that? You guys are special across the board. But specific to that, those talented teachers that can build that relationship and earn that trust on a consistent basis, year by year, even with the students that, I hate you. You don't, because you're still going to call me or you're going to email me when your shit goes bad at home.
Well, I think this year might bring out the better teacher in everyone. Because I have colleagues who, have a reputation for being like a hard ass, and they don't take late work and they don't accept any excuses or whatever. But this year, because there are kids who legitimately, like, their power is out at home. They can't log into a class, or they can't get their assignment like uploaded, or the teacher can't access the digital textbook or whatever. Like, there are so many problems outside everybody's control that teachers are forced to be flexible. And what I hope comes out of this is that when it's over and we go back to, traditional in-class learning, that those teachers will continue to be flexible. That's my hope.
Yeah. Stop with the, I'm going to torture you because the person at the next level might torture you. They don't accept work at third grade. They don't accept late work at fifth grade. They don't accept late work in high school. They don't accept late work in college. You know what? And pretty much except for a capital crime, you always get a do-over.
Right?
So stop fucking.
I took incompletes in college and turned the work in months later. Like, you can do it.
Right.
One of the big lessons that you learn later in life is that, every deadline's kind of flexible. Unless it's like,
Rockwell, how many times have you nuked somebody who's come into Big Kitty Labs with a half-baked idea, and guess what? They come back with a better idea, and they blow you away. Like, that's life. And you know what? The artificial constructions we put around school, some of these teachers, Fran, that you work with, you're like, you know what? You're an average human being, and I understand that you didn't have a whole lot of choice into going. Yeah, there's people all over the spectrum. Just pick a profession, and there are people you're like, I never want to see that fill in the blank professional again. And then there's people on the other side. They're going to give it. And I think, unfortunately, our tendency is to focus on the people on the downside of the spectrum. And you know what? Some teacher, they're going to figure it out. And you know what? Those, especially at the upper levels, nobody signs up for their classes, and they're just old and miserable. And you know what? You get the class that nobody wants to take with 4 kids, and pretty soon it gets canceled, and it's time for you to retire.
Do you guys think I think this past year is a big example of how college needs to really be kind of nuked from orbit and sort of rebuilt. At least that's what it seems like on some degrees. I'm coming from the tech side where there's a myriad of accelerators that teach a kid how to program. They don't teach the kid everything else, but it just seems like you're going to see even more, master class type stuff, or you're going to see even more, Snoop Dogg is going to show you how to roll blunts and teach you how to do hip hop, right? No, I'm serious. And some of these things I think there's an interesting trend of not only the education part, but the experiential side of it. They get to see you jump into the life of that person and learn from that person. That person was maybe this XYZ style person or humble, and that's an affiliation that they align to. So they almost sort of, navigate through a mix of those things. Do you guys feel like that's going to happen, or the 4-year degree going to just keep
more
on
like
trucking?
Apprenticeships than just getting a piece of paper at the end of the day?
Yeah, no, I don't think I see a decline in the MBA and a decline in the 4-year degree in general in the tech field, not in medical, not in hardcore engineering, but if you talk about information science, I think that I know for a fact you don't need a 4-year degree to get yourself a $250K job if you have the talent. The IT side is a mixture of talent, both on sheer coding, but in endurance and resilience. So I don't know.
And that you can't learn in any classroom. That's just
that's
right. You don't.
Right.
Specialized field, and it's a highly unique culture.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
And learning, I think with the IT stuff, and the limited experience that I've had with it is it's a complicated and very exacting sort of science, but there's a culture attached to that is in itself very unique and challenging at the same time.
Yeah, and even the entrepreneurial space where, I do a lot of mentoring at high school and even grade school camps where you're basically identifying the entrepreneurial spirit in a kid as early as possible, and then you're trying to fuel it through experimentation or whatever to see, what their kind of spark and what they'll actually go for and do. I think those things are pretty cool. But I'm curious, 4-year degree, is it going to stay? Is it going to be here for another 20 years?
Well, I think there's going to be a revolt. I mean, how many things have come across your feed here? I'm getting nothing out of a college experience except for pre-recorded video lessons from my professor. You're charging me full tuition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like they're going to revolt and check out, and unless it's one of those programs where it's so entrenched where you got to have the pedigree. I think you're going to see that as people are checking out. The bureaucracy of higher education single-handedly prevented me from getting my PhD. No way.
Case in point, just like right now, one of my son's friends was taking classes to be in mechanical engineering. dropped out of that course, dropped out of that college because it went completely online and it's half-assed. And yeah, you're paying full tuition to sit at home and watch videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
And no. So he's like, forget that. He's going to go be a fucking electrician.
Yeah. And we all had those teachers that would phone it in by playing videos, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is education. Oh, screw that. I'm not in that. And unfortunately, I think college professors have adapted the least in this. They're just like, I got to get my TA to do this, or let's play
attached to the college professor.
I want to be able to minor and not fucking up. Like, I never got taught really great, like how to handle like lawyers and like finances and like save as early as possible. I almost feel like that's the new minor. It's like, oh, you're gonna major in entrepreneurship. Great. Well, that's the Express 8-month program. Largely, we just put you on your ass and you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And you can minor in
a business plan example.
That's right.
I don't know. Education is a really interesting scene. It's also a scene that you kind of saw it happen in design a little bit, where design was really specialized, and then it got sort of like the train got exploded within, and there was like one day there was like 100,000 people didn't know crap about research and design, and telling people this is how you do it, and it's just like you guys are going through that now, where it's like, some idiot, mowing the yard is like, I know those damn teachers are fucking up. You're like, you don't know shit, So it's interesting.
You can't even mow a straight line, dumbass.
Right. Get off my lawn.
Oh God. We're running long, but I totally think that we should, just because I don't give a shit, and everybody kind of showed up late because of issues here and there. So I think we've beaten this education horse as much as we can. So Tom, do you want to steer us in?
Nerves.
Come on, give us another survey.
Day. Yeah, well,
light Rick up again.
How about we book Rick in March, and he can just have the full show to bitch about everything in the education world.
All right.
Oh, man.
I'm going to send you a case of wild turkey.
Are you raising chickens now? I mean, what other job are you going to get here? Are you going to stay in education or what?
I'm out. Yeah, I'm done. I'm seriously, we're going to open a bed and breakfast in Italy. Yeah, that's what I want to do.
We're going to be your guests. I'm waiting for the travel bans to loosen up so we can, you can get that going, and we will be there.
Yeah, I tried to get a work visa teaching English as a foreign language, but of the dozen applications I submitted, I haven't got anything back yet. So
there are several towns in Italy that you can buy houses for. Like, I'm sure you've looked at it.
Right? For €1, and then they're like, oh, by the way. Yeah, you got to invest $50,000 into remodeling this place, and you got to guarantee to stay here until your children's generation.
Yeah.
So
it's a hell of a deal.
For you, such a deal. Hey, son, I want to let you know I bought this thing in Italy, and when I kick off, your children have to live.
You're stuck with it.
Just ownership.
That's right. And it may or may not be run by the mafia. I don't know.
What
details?
But
Rick, do you have a? Sorry, Tom. Do you have a Rick? Rick, do you have a Bob Evans hat on?
I have a Bob Evans hat. Yeah,
I was like, holy cow! I was just like, that's not Bob Evans.
Nobody in Colorado knows what it is. I
We don't have Bob Evans out there.
Yeah, I was in Florida a few years ago, and I was in Bob Evans because I can't get me some fried mush out here, and so in Colorado, and so I saw the hat, and I'm like wearing the hat, and then people are like, Bob Evans, nice. I'm like, you're from east of the Mississippi, aren't you? And they're like, yeah, totally Bob. Yeah, there's pretty much none west of the Mississippi, so yeah, I love me my Bob Evans. I'm actually right now is the time this is being discussed. I'm in North Carolina right now because I freaking hate the cold weather in Colorado, but that's a show for another time. So,
well, I just, I think, Rick, it's great that you bring this up because, Bob Evans is doing the holiday sampler again this year. Open at 6. So again, everybody, I encourage you out to go out there and support your local chain.
Yeah.
Here, that's Bob Evans. Again, Bob Evans. Thank you, Bob Evans.
I got to tell you, I've been hanging around with a lot of young people lately, and here's where education has failed. Fran, I think we haven't done a good job. Kids today do not know jingles.
Yeah.
They don't know. Bob Evans down on the farm. Ding, you know. They don't
watch commercials anymore.
The very fabric of humanity.
All of their entertainment comes from a streaming service, and so they don't see any commercials.
Right. Finish this. Cinnamon toasty.
Corn Crunch?
Apple Jacks. All right.
Well, damn.
Wow. Point proven. Yeah, good job.
Whatever it is I thought I saw became
Tootsie Roll.
Time to make donuts.
You're not.
Tootsie Roll.
How many licks does it take to get to?
Yes,
I'm around kids who are in their
great line to say in a strip club, by the way. About to say.
They don't know. They don't know anything. That is the true erosion of our society, right?
Well, I think they're trained to mute the ads that show up in their stream.
Yeah, and then you just flip through it. Like, okay, hey, I can bring home the bacon, fried up in the pan. And what's that for?
Yeah, I don't know.
You gotta make you my man.
Right.
Absolutely.
Maybe I'm the asshole.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Anyway.
So Tom had a survey.
I like this
topic. Quick. Switch the topic. Tansky went off.
Guess the jingle. That's guess the jingle. Let's move on to our next segment.
That's what's wrong with America today. No jingles. We have lost our musical sense.
Pay attention.
All right. It's all about.
I mean, jingles went out and twerking came in. I mean, it was just a trade.
Yeah. Love that trend as a high school administrator. Did you lose your contact, honey? Okay, don't bend over and look for it there. No, because that's not where it's at. No, boy, what? And seriously, why do we find panties on the floor after the dance is over?
Well, where else are you going to put them?
Yeah,
the days that was a trophy are gone.
I chaperoned a dance where there was a couple. She was a senior. He had graduated the year before. They were married.
What?
They got married over spring break of her senior year, and they had already had a child together. So they're at her senior prom, and they're twerking. And I approached them, and I realized I really have no grounds here because they're married and have a child. So carry on.
We're working on another one. Thanks, Teach. Rockwell, I think you're right. You need to minor and not fucking up.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big thing. I mean, because you could learn like all your basic bank stuff and how to deal with lawyers.
Well, hang on. You mentioned that, and I was gonna mention this earlier when we were, a few minutes ago when we were talking about just sort of education and the feelings in general. But, Dylan and a lot of his friends have always said, I wish there was a class that taught us basic life skills.
Yeah.
And I hear that a lot. And I'm like, well, that's what your fucking parents are for.
Yeah, right.
So true.
You don't know how to balance a checkbook? Dude, that's on me.
Right.
If you don't understand how to fill out, a W-4 or, a 1040 EZ, that's on me.
Are you sure you're not a radical? I think you're a radical. Because that is clearly the job of the government.
Yeah, but you got to remember that most kids see themselves as superior to their folks. So why would they even trust you on that?
Right. That is a very valid point. Who's the fuck's going to listen to mom and dad?
Right.
Here's an app for that, Dad.
And I have a 17-year-old. I have a 17-year-old who tells me, I got this. And then he doesn't got it.
You don't got that.
My kid will never listen to this show. So when he was getting his driver's license, he's 24 now. He's getting his driver's license. I'm like, son, you need some help? No, I got it, Dad. I got it. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay. He asked the secretary at the high school he went to, who got her license like 40 years ago. And he Googled how to get a driver's license. And instead of Colorado, he got DMV.ca, which is California. So the kid,
process here in California, let me tell you. Because
I love this because I'm like, okay, you got this, kid. We show up 7 a.m., get in line at the DMV. He doesn't have shit. He has not a thing for to get his driver's license in Colorado. Doesn't have his test. Doesn't have anything like that. The only thing I lost was a couple hours of sleep. He lost weeks worth of time because I got this, and I'm like, real life lesson. Tom, yeah, that was on me. I'm like, okay, here you go, buddy.
No, spot on, and that's good parenting.
Yeah, and he's like, you should have told me. And I'm like, I asked if you needed help, and you said no, Dad, I got this. And I'm like, okay, you got this, buddy. So I think you're ready to get your license in California, but we live in Colorado.
Yeah, you're spot on, dude. Part of that responsibility as the parent educator is, hang on, let him go ahead and stick that in a light socket and see what happens. Gotta let them fail.
Yeah,
and even though you are completely due the "I told you so," you can't.
Yeah,
because
Tom,
you lose them.
Were you a scout?
I was.
You were in the Scouts. So the question is, will the Scouts pick up that gap and teach you basic life skills?
To a large extent, yeah.
Really? See, that's interesting.
Yeah. I learned a lot of that simple life skill stuff in scouting.
Yeah. Did you send your kids to scouting? No.
Dylan, yeah, I sent Dylan. He went through Scouts. He's an Eagle. He's an Eagle Scout.
Oh, nice.
Congratulations.
Okay. That's awesome. Yeah. Nice. That's a value of, who else sent their kids to that? Seems like a Tom Banks thing, Scouts. Who else was a Scout?
Not me. They wouldn't let me in.
You, Evelyn, there's a whole list. Didn't make it in.
Right.
Who was
it was George and I think, were the only ones that were Scouts.
Yeah.
Who was
your dad been married 3 times, 4 times? You can't come.
But I remember coming up to scout camp and helping like prepare sandwiches.
Yeah,
for,
Camp Lazarus.
Yeah, for a bunch of.
George and I were working the kitchen for the camp. That was cool.
And I do want to say that your summer trip on the Appalachian Trail has inspired me. And as a result, not all, because I'm not crazy, but some of the Appalachian Trail is like on my bucket list now.
Do it. It is, we didn't do the whole damn thing either, but we did a couple 100 miles.
Yeah.
But even a weekend trip on the Appalachian Trail is worth it. It's a beautiful piece of the country. It's so, at least it was back in 1985.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a fun trip. It's challenging, obviously, but it's a great, even it's a historic trail. Just even to do a piece of it is something.
Is that back when you were getting ginseng? You ever see that show where they go into West Virginia and they hunt for ginseng?
What?
No.
Oh yeah, it's really good.
Wait, they hunt for? Do you know what ginseng is made of, Dan? I don't think you have to hunt it.
No, it's a plant, but there's a show. I forget what I know. There's a show. It's either on the History Channel or National Geographic, but it's
Truffle pigs gone bad.
It's a bunch of ranchers. Yeah, it's a bunch of ranchers who fight off people that come in their yard and get my ginseng. Yeah, did you get out of my yard? Get off my ginseng. Been growing that thing for 48 years.
Is so much better. The Korean ginseng is much better than the American ginseng.
Well, I don't know. This thing had 2 seasons. It was a good show.
Better than Firefly.
That is an excellent counterpoint.
We just lost half our audience.
Now we're down to 3.
I've never actually seen Firefly.
That's harsh, man.
I hope it's not the Russian we lost.
Oh, man.
Fran, what's the picture behind you? It says Grassy. Grase. What?
Gross.
Degrassi Junior High?
No, Gross. It's a city in France, in the south of France, in the Provence region. It's a big perfume place.
It stinks.
It smells good. They grow lots of lavender there.
Do they hunt it, though?
Whatever.
It willingly sacrifices itself.
As it should. It knows it's wrong.
Oh, God.
Gentlemen, this has been great. This has been fantastic to actually see and hear and talk to you all again. I have to go put a child or two to bed.
Oh, well, Fran, I'm so glad we got an opportunity to catch up. And
I'm
since
glad
day
I got the
one,
tech working.
when Tom and I started this, you've been on the list of people that we want to have in for like a full show.
I want to schedule that.
Totally. Yeah, I want to hear that.
The binge listening has convinced me that, yes.
Yeah.
Aw.
Really? There's a bit listening.
Good. That's good.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, well, thank you for coming. And where are we now? Yeah, we're over, but that's okay. But thank you. It was great talking to you. And let's do it again soon.
Absolutely.
Fran,
Au revoir.
au revoir.
All right.
She helped me actually. She actually helped me pass French too.
I think she helped me pass English. And I became an English teacher.
Wow.
Wow.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Well, she helped me pass French too, and the only reason I passed French 2 was that I promised Madame Cross that I would not take French 3.
D, you're in.
That's all it takes.
So, Rick, what are you doing next? I don't want to burn airtime on a job interview here, but
Right.
they can trim this shit out. What are you doing?
You know, I don't know.
Yeah?
What are you doing in North Carolina? You lose a bet.
So, I think I turned into an old man at some point because
30 years ago.
yeah. So I don't know. I think the three of you were at my going away party when I left Ohio. There were a lot of inappropriate gifts that my wife and son would be horrified to know that I had.
You see this scar?
So basically, since then, I've decided I hate cold and snow, and so I only ever want to see snow again when I pay for it on vacation. So some friends were coming out here to North Carolina, and I'm like, "Is it warmer there than Colorado? Can I come?" And so I invited myself. I'm on a trip that I invited myself on,
Nice.
and that happened to Phoenix. So I am, I kind of don't want to ever be cold again. So
That's fair.
The short answer to your question, Rockwell, is I was supposed to spend this 6-7 months in Italy trying to prospect for a location that we might do a bed and breakfast and figure out if I really want to live overseas. I mean, Arnold gave it a go. It was great.
Nice.
So that's not happening right now because
Yeah.
the world's messed up. So I'm taking Italian lessons and I'm figuring it out. And I'm gonna go try it. And I'm gonna fail or I'm not gonna fail. And either way, it's gonna be great. And I'm gonna have a story to tell. Hopefully, if I have grandkids or whatever. So the answer is whatever I want.
I like it. I didn't know if you wanted to start working on your education startup. I don't know if you wanted to get into that. Thing. I mean, Esh and I have been going over the plans. Tom's got most of the wireframes done. Just waiting for you.
The education startup is this. Are you an orphan? Okay, you're in. So I want to run a charter school for orphans because then I don't have to worry about parents.
You don't need private records. The records are ours.
No. You know what? Sometimes kids need to get bad news, and we don't call them helicopter parents anymore. We call them lawnmower parents because they just mow down every obstacle.
If you actually start that school, for the love of God, will you please call it Fagans?
Yes. Yes. Please, sir, may I have some more? No, you can't have any more. Right?
Yeah. We will teach you to balance a checkbook and how to pickpocket.
Or two.
And some parkour.
And you can eat all the gruel you want.
That's right.
Why Italy?
I'm going to teach you how to sell red roses.
So you don't really look Italian to me, but you could be.
No, I've just been there a few times. Love the people, love the history, love the food. Wife's a big foodie, and she wants to go on a grand adventure. And And Tom, you probably know this. Once you go live and immerse yourself in another culture, you realize how sheltered you are as an American.
Yeah.
I mean, we all grew up pretty much middle class kids. None of us had to face anything really of adversity that our parents or ourselves didn't create. And when you go see the world, you realize it's embarrassing not to know another language when you go to another country.
Fair point.
And
especially when you get there and they speak English so well.
Yeah, you're like, oh my God, I was an English teacher and you said that better than I did. I ain't got no English.
Wow.
So yeah, there's some altruistic reasons why we want to also do what we want to do with bed and breakfast, and
I get it.
that's a little more serious than I think the theme of Bum's Corner Coast to Coast is. So, but
What?
yeah,
We're all about the altruism.
We dabble.
Yeah, what have you been listening to, man? We're all about the giving.
All I know is that Rockwell single-handedly changed the course of Bum's Corner Coast to Coast, and that you made Rachel answer questions ahead of time. Like if there's one person I wanted you to dedicate 3 hours to, it's like the person in our group who overcame cancer, right? And she's like, I'll talk about that later. And I listened to the whole episode, and guess what? Nothing.
Yeah.
That's how we get you. Season 2.
Right. Bastards. That's a sick cliffhanger.
Yep.
I didn't realize I quizzed her on my episode. I didn't know.
No, you didn't.
It's the fact that you
did
ran
what
for
you
2
normally
hours.
do. Yeah, like kind of like this episode. I think wherever you are on this.
No,
episode.
we're at $1.16 right now, so we're doing
All right.
good.
You're not at the red line yet. Then. You're good.
No, they're gonna edit some stuff out and they're gonna zip to your piece.
Yeah, there and Dan, I'll be frank. There was the website I was using to not to host it necessarily, but to like compile all our episodes and put it together in a pretty format. The file was so big I couldn't get it on there. So I had to like put links to everything. Like here it is on Pandora. Here it is on Spotify. Here it is on Amazon. So it was beautiful. So yeah, unfortunately, Rachel had to come right after you. And we're like, listen, you have like a minute to tell us about your life. And after that, you need to shut the fuck up. We will talk about some dumbass that got high and stole a car, okay?
And I don't know about anybody else. I love the Rockwell episode.
Oh, it was funny as shit. Because Dan's just like, hey, Dan, here's the path. And way off in the distance, you hear,
well.
hey, guys, I'm over here.
Remember the map we had? I think it's back in the car.
Oh, it was fucking awesome.
Gotta do our
And I gotta tell you, if there's everybody, like Dan, I would actually love you to go talk to kids in school, because we have this myth of the American successful rogue, like Bill Gates and Thomas Edison and those kind of things like that. But you're an everyman. Like you're just like, what, I just found something that I like to do, and I found my path through life. And at least what I heard, I'm like, and you're like, you know what? I just go after it and be passionate about what you do, and throw yourself into it, and you know what? You can make some bank along the way, and it's not an anomaly.
Yeah,
and it's not the Bill Gates story, and it's not all of those. I'm gonna plant my flag and stake out my turf, and so. Heck yeah. And you know what? You did minor in how to not mess up.
yeah, that's true. I guess. Yeah. Well, thanks, Rick. I appreciate that. I mean, I loved it when I was on campus and talking classes. I'm teaching a class at Ball State next year, just doing like a entrepreneurial prototyping lecture. A lot of times they want me to come in and be the judge on pitch decks or something like that, which is a lot of fun. But it's fun. I love doing this recording stuff. It's a lot of fun. So, podcasting is fun. All right, move on.
So what happened before I came on and derailed the show? Where were we? Where were we?
They always do a bunch of research. They throw a bunch of questions at you. I love it when Esh gets into his I'm going to read something on the air voice. His pitch goes up. I love it. Can you do it again for us?
I'm buying Anchor. I don't have a podcast. So
they're owned by Spotify, which is an amazing company, by the way, and we love Spotify's service. As a premier member, I reap the benefits that Spotify provides.
Nice.
No, I'm just kidding.
Do
What?
What?
No, actually, Dan, I try and emulate Tom from when he was a DJ at CD 101. Like, that's how I knew I was out too late on a work night, when I would leave the bar and get in the car and Tom was on the air. I'm like, oh, shit. Now I know I'm going to feel terrible tomorrow.
Tom,
You go to bed with me.
Tom always has like a sort of a sine wave aspect. I always remember him sort of talk where he would sort of tell the story, like, sugar company in Texas apparently has a fire. And that's pretty serious over there. So he goes all the way up and sort of tells the story, and then his deep voice comes in when someone else is like, "That's fucked up." He's like, "Yeah, that's totally fucked up." Anyways, I was like, I love it because it's like the first part is the voice of Trump once again denied in Pittsburgh for a bullshit lawsuit he's spending a ton of money on. I didn't have any fucking chances. I love that. Love that style.
You're totally right.
Yeah, that's good.
He's not lying.
40 days.
did you have another survey? Let's blow up another survey.
Oh, actually, Tom, go all the way to the bottom of the page. Let's end in some anger.
Fucking Eshelman, reading my mind. Is this me? Oh,
Yeah. See, we've been doing this so long that we can finish each other's
Sentences.
sandwiches.
Yes.
Sandwiches?
That's fucking gross.
Give me that pickle and rye.
Yeah, do it up, man. Bring us home.
Majority of us say porch pirates are the worst part of the holiday season. With millions of people ordering more stuff online than ever because of COVID-19, and with the holidays fast approaching, Americans are dreading more than ever the most modern of malefactors, the porch pirate. Thieves who steal your packages right off your doorstep. According to a new survey, 64% of Americans worry their precious packages will be preyed upon, and 47% have already had everything from holiday gifts to life-saving medicine snatched from their steps. The poll of 2,000 people commissioned by home security company Simple Life revealed that 75% say that such theft is the worst part of the holiday season, with the average victim losing an estimated $175.05 thanks to pirates' sticky fingers. In fact, it's such a common crime that 32% of those polled say they take the possibility their packages will be stolen into account when it comes to ordering gifts online, with 72% saying they watch their delivery update notifications like hawks. Also, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, 52% say they're ordering more expensive gifts than ever online, making the threat of theft even more urgent. Nearly half of those polled say they have a security system installed in their homes, with 13% saying they did so specifically because of porch pirates.
Fucking cowards. Cowards!
These pirates are dragging our society to the brink of extinction.
Yeah. They're terrible, awful people. I want to point out, that the survey was paid for by Simply Safe.
Well, yeah.
So take that with a grain of salt.
This survey / marketing ploy.
Right? And to be honest, I use their service. I am not going to say anything positive about them because they're not an advertiser.
Wow.
So, but yes.
Balls in your court, Simply Safe.
That's right. It's meshelman@gmail.com. But yes, whenever I read an article about this, I get so angry because I try to take the high horse and say, well, stealing is wrong, blah, blah, blah. But then I look around this little Hollywood squares we have on this Google Meet and realize that I don't have a leg to stand on. We were all fairly terrible people in our youth. So
I can neither confirm nor deny that.
But you're literally they're stealing medicine off of people's porches.
Yeah.
And it's
that's a
sickening.
far cry from stealing a ceramic pig out of somebody's lawn.
Exactly. No, that's a victimless crime unless
Or
you're
knock
the pig.
over a bird bath. It's you're not a Grinch. You're just a punk.
You're a malfeasant.
A malfeasant.
I do think I haven't been robbed yet, knock on wood, but I will say the package is just, it's in the COVID era, yeah, like you're always watching the front door. You know what I mean? Just kind of weird.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
I had
We had
one package that I think was stolen, either stolen or the UPS guy just delivered it to the wrong address, which it happens. But it was it was a Christmas present for my daughter. And I was at work. I got the little notification, package was delivered by FedEx, blah, blah, blah. Came running home, and there was nothing. But luckily, the shipper, Microsoft, who, again, is not an advertiser, so I'm not going to say they're great or anything, but they didn't take care of the issue. But, yeah, it's terrible that this is happening, and it's so easy for people to do it, too. But I'm wondering... And again, how old is this? Is only a month-old survey. Yeah. I wonder if the porch stealing has gone up or down since more people are just sitting at home working.
I think it has to have gone down, I would think, just because people are, watching. I don't know. The other day I moved from like my home office area to the couch in the other room. I literally felt like I was like, it's good to go across town and try another co-working. It's just nuts. Or like I get as much catnip as possible, pour it on a plate in the middle of the room and go, this is my office right now. I'm going to watch these cats kill themselves. Getting extremely high. Yeah.
We need to change the marketing. If you stop calling them Porsche pirates because everybody's romanticized the name pirates, right?
You don't think Jack Sparrow's going to saunter up to their patio,
right? Like, who's the boss now? Who's the boss now? Like pick another term, like your porch herpes or something like that, and people will stop it. They're like, I don't want to be a communicable disease. I'm not going to steal people's stuff.
One time I had a UPS driver I think he actually took the package home. I don't know how he knew what it was. You know what was inside it though?
What?
Sex toys.
Dildo.
Similar.
With this audience, that's going to go everywhere.
Sometimes I like buying old candy on Amazon just because it brings back memories. So yeah, you can find old, like not old dated candy, just like old brands. Anyways, I found Raver's cotton candy, and so it was like Rave unicorn cotton candy, and a huge thing. And I don't know, I was like, why did the ties and like stupid things make it, but my unicorn Rave cotton candy? What, that one package? And I'm like, come on.
Why that? Damn you, universe.
He got wind of what was in that. It's fine though.
Right when we moved in here to our house in California, like honestly, we had just moved in, like we just got the keys. And a week later, of course, my dad's like, it was late November. It was just after Thanksgiving. And, the family's like, we moved here. We were living momentarily at my in-laws' house while we found a house and just got this one. So my dad was like, oh, cool. You got an address? All right, I'm going to go ahead and send a Christmas present there. Yeah. Immediately, like we're not in California. We haven't lived in this house for a week. My dad sends the Christmas present and snatched.
Oh,
right up, oblivious to it because we're back and forth between the houses trying to get livable and out of the in-laws, and No idea until like the night the cop shows up with the bag. Like, hey, we found this in someone's trunk. They stole it off your porch.
Oh, no way.
Wow.
Wow, you got it back.
Wow.
Yeah. I was gobsmacked. I was like,
Yeah.
dude, you're a fucking rock star. There, I mean, our local PD is pretty cool. Great bunch of guys. So, hats off to the Beaumont Police Department. You guys are doing a great job.
Nice.
Lo and behold, it was an Instant Pot, and who would have thought that that's like the thing I use almost every day.
Oh,
So not only, was it it's gone, but back, and we had no idea what we lost. But it would have been huge because it was the Instant Pot. Saved my life.
What a happy story.
Thanks. And take that with you.
They're it's not
Instant
a
Pot. It's meshelman@gmail.com.
It's not a stolen story, but my ire at FedEx. Back in my old place, I lived in a not so great neighborhood. It was a wee bit on the sketchy side. So I ordered a TV off of Amazon. It was like a 48-inch or some bullshit like that. It was big enough that it was going to cause an issue shipping it. So when I saw it progressing, I took the day off work. So that way I thought, I'll just be home and ready for it, right? So I'm tracking it online, out for delivery. And like later on in the afternoon, I walked into the breezeway. And for some reason, I thought, shit, it's really dark in here. And I look over, and my front window is blocked. So I open up the door, and propped up against the side of my house is my fucking TV. And if you've ever had one of these shipped, they don't put them in outer packaging. It's just, the stuff, if you took it home from Best Buy, it's the same box. A giant picture of the TV with the size and HDMI on the side of it. It's just leaning against the side of my house. And I'm 20 feet from a main drive where shit gets stolen all the time. And I was so mad. I'm like, all he had to do was tap on the door. I mean, I was a handful of feet away from it all fucking day waiting for it. And the guy just sort of leaned it against the house and blocked my mailbox too. So the postman couldn't even get to my mailbox. Oh, I was so upset, but it made it. So.
Well, then you would have heard the.
Yeah, like the UPS truck, you can hear it a mile away. That there's something about that Mercedes engine that they use that you can tell the UPS guy's coming. FedEx are like fucking ninjas. Like I could be staring at the porch, sneeze, and look up, and there's 3 boxes there.
Nice.
Any porch pirates run-ins with you guys?
No.
Rick?
I live in a townhouse condo complex, so I have the blue hair militia that is looking out for all of us. So
yeah,
Nice.
that's good.
Yeah. All right.
More
Well,
often
that didn't elicit the anger that I thought it would. Yeah. So I guess we're all too safe in our little worlds to be affected by them.
Learned.
Yes, knock on wood.
All right.
Safe.
So we have run long, so I think it is a good place to stop. Both of you guys, absolutely, please come back for season 2.
Yeah.
Like Rick mentioned, Dan, if you want to come and just ramble we won't.
Oh,
We'll take the guardrails off and just let you talk about whatever you want for a while.
what? Yeah, I know. I loved it. Just
Yeah, and Rick, bring
I'll
the
come up
anger.
with a question. It'd be like, what do you think about this?
yeah, I think it'd be kind of cool to. Might be even cool to have for you guys to even solicit your fans or audience for ideas for their company ideas, and then we go through them or something like that. If you have an idea or something like that.
I got an idea for you right here. We'll plant a seed.
Holy shit.
One of the things I just want to see happen is somebody needs to develop an app while I'm driving and I have my car on, and because occasionally there is an ad that comes on the radio or on the TV, and I'm like, oh yeah, I will remember that ad or I'll remember that website, and I can't remember it, and I want to capture it on my phone, and I want to go back and I'll be like, oh yeah, buy that. So figure out how to make it go.
Let's see, you can do that with Alexa, but we'll figure that out.
But I'm driving.
Yeah. No, but, I mean that's just ambient Alexa in the car while you're driving, and you say save it, and it and just goes in the back buffer, and grabs it.
Even your phone, you can say, "Hey Google, look up extra large pocket pussy." At least it'll be in your search history, so you can.
Oh, what radio station are you listening to?
I love that. Good day, sir. Do you have a large one behind the counter, per se?
Small, medium, large, and alien.
You ordered that in November of 2018. Would you like to read
my Amazon history?
I'd like to return this pocket pussy, please. It just doesn't fit. Do you have something in the extra large area, please?
Oh my god.
Should be used.
Oh, but shit. Thank you guys so much for doing this. Our first Thunderdome episode.
That's a good name for it, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we had no idea. It could have gone, who run Bartertown?
Yeah, I was going to say, who runs Bartertown? Blaster, blaster.
Basta.
Who run Bartertown?
That's right. 2-man answer, 1-man lead.
Big shit.
Oh, fuck.
What was that? Make a deal, face the wheel. That's a classic. It's got a lot of great one-liners in it.
You've internalized a lot of that movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
God, it was awesome.
I blame Tom with the sudden airwolf.
Wow,
I had to plant that neuron seed, and that allowed the entire 90s to come back.
Good times.
Very welcome, Captain Walker.
All right, so everybody listening out there, have a good Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa or whatever it is you guys do. And I think we're coming. Are we still on board for doing a year in review after the new year?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Work for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So right after New Year's, we're going to record again and just sort of a wrap up of 2020 of all the cool stuff that happened.
And,
awesome.
Ash, are you still planning to? I know it's sort of a new idea, and I know Rick's working really hard on it. But his concept called Rick Roast, where he just comes on, and somebody new comes on the show, and he just rips them to shreds with like his anger, because you got some anger, you know what I mean? So I just think, it's just like a new person on Rick Roast. And they
I love that idea, but Rick, does your ire like exist outside the educational realm?
Oh yeah, pick a topic.
Okay,
it's gonna be like a spin-off. Like Gladwell has done with 5,000 podcasts ago. So yeah, spin that off. We'll do that.
Yeah, perfect. Just have you shit all over like a real person instead of the stuff that we pick up on the newswire.
I love it. I want to try the Rick Roast. Get some
Rick Roast.
Get some fresh people in here. I don't want to get them. Even if we have to prop them up as somebody that you could possibly absolutely hate, like we give them a fake script, it would be totally worth it just to have you, express yourself.
I just want to know why tech people think they're superior than the rest of us.
It's not that we think that we're.
It's so easy.
They are.
Rick,
right?
It's not that you think that you're superior, Rick.
It's because you're fucking Cro-Mags. That's why. Next.
We're slightly more evolved than the average. Take anyone from the modern day education system. Anyway, whatever. Take people who.
Your high point is the opposable thumb. I mean, that's all you got going for you. So
people aren't elite. We're not elite.
Sure.
Oh,
But I do like that idea of Rick just shitting all over somebody.
I think the Rick roast, man. It's gonna be like a special zinger at the end, like we're almost out of time, but now just the last 5 minutes. Rick, take it away, and then you just whip it at somebody, you know.
Yeah, just be like, you brought up some interesting topics. However, you
Yeah, exactly. I like your idea. I want to come back and let your idea was dumb.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rick.
Bring out the gimp.
That in our culture today.
We do.
I can count on no hands the number of times you were right.
Oh, I love this idea. And this is building the Bums Corner Coast to Coast empire that we talked about,
Mm-hmm. See, and at some point, Rick, 10, 20, 30 years from now, there's going to be kids looking back, and they're going to say, "Why, I know Rick Tansky. He was like the MTV Yo Raps guy of just roasting people." You know what I mean? And they're going to think about the Bums Corner Network, which at that point will be a network.
Will be huge.
Yeah.
I'll spawn the
Like,
next generation of
you mean
cancel.
Bump Corner? Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and Ed doesn't really care where he gets the money. So if he got $48 million from the Republican Party, he's like, fuck it, I'm doing
Whatever, dude.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
Past the point of Karen.
I'll plug your shit. Go for it. Simply Safe. But yeah, I like that idea. On that topic, I would like to put a plug in. My brother and I have one episode so far of a podcast we're working on, and there are more to come now that he's finished his school quarter. But it's called Sounds Like, and it's a Spotify exclusive, where it's like a radio show with a topic. So every episode we pick a topic, and we each bring to the table a few songs that have to do with that topic, and then we talk about them. So episode 1 is out there on Spotify, and what it was is cover songs that don't sound like the original.
Okay.
Should be no shortage of those.
Our songs that don't sound like the okay.
Yeah, so look us up. Again, we're on Spotify, so that it's a little side project of the Bums Corner Empire that I'm working on.
I love that. Unfamiliar cover songs up next on the Bums Network. Songs you think you recognize but won't. Up next.
We're coming for you, Rogan.
This will bug you until you hear the chorus.
Right.
So, all
sounds good.
right, I think it's time we
let's get rid of
this thing. Yeah. So, guys, thank you again, and have a blessed holiday. And please come back. Let's do this again in a few months. Tom, get us out of here, man.
Yeah.
Go home. Turn off your damn devices and go outside. Breathe fresh air. Fuck off.
Perfect.
All right, guys, have a good Christmas, will you? And hopefully, let's definitely keep rambling on the Rick roast here going into 2021. I'm excited about that.
Perfect. All right. Good night, guys.